The 1960 census determined U.S. population to be 17,323,175. The average salary was $4,743. Minimum wage was $1. The life expectancy for males was about 66 years. Females lived to be around 73 years. Architecture in the 1960s was state-of-the-art. Architecture became a more refined modernism and had a streamlined contemporary feel. Famous buildings in this decade include the New York State Theater, the Memorial Arched by Eero Saarinen in St. Louis, Missouri, the Lovejoy Fountain Plaza by Lawrence Halprin in Portland, Oregon, the Lake Point Tower in Chicago, Illinois, and the NASA complex at Houston, Texas. Art had the desire to move to the future in the 1960s. Helen Frankenthaler specialized in non-representational art. Werner Plantin designed furniture that will never be forgotten. He used untraditional materials like plastic and foam rubber. The Plantin chair was the first chair that molded form in plastic with no joints. The chair has been in production since 1967. Books and literature expressed the human race of the 1960s. Rachel Carson's Silent Spring helped support the environmental movement. Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird helped advance civil rights. Other famous works include Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique, Joseph Heller's Catch-22, and James D. Watson's The Double Helix. Music of the 1960s is unforgettable. The Beatles, the Beach Boys, Elvis Presley, the Rolling Stones, the Temptations, Smokey Robinson, Johnny Cash, Jefferson Airplane are just a few of the amazing performers famous in 1960.
Civil rights movements were a big topic in the government. The most prominent civil rights activist during this time was Martin Luther King Jr. He sought equal rights for African Americans. And then in 1965, Watts riots broke out in Los Angeles. The Hispanic population tripled its numbers. Theatrical performance during the 1960s included Camelot, Hello, Dolly, Oliver, Hair, and Man of La Mancha. Edward Albee, who wrote Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, was deemed to be the most prestigious playwright of the time. Toys also invented at this time were the Easy Bake Oven and Etch-a-Sketch. Some games that were invented were Life and Twister, which are still played today. Clothing was conservative in the early 1960s. Many wore plaid button-down shirts and knee-length dresses or skirts. Towards the mid-1960s, clothing began to change. It became more tight and revealing. Miniskirts, hot pants, and go-go boots were introduced. Bright colors, such as tie-dye patterns and flared jeans, were worn. Unisex dressing was popular also at this time. In the 1960s, Barbie dolls were created. The brand Mattel became huge. The G.I. Joe and Troll doll were created to rival the Barbie doll. Slot cars were created and soon took over toy trains. California surfers brought the idea of skateboarding to keep in shape. By 1963, skateboarding spread across America. One of America's major accomplishments in the 1960s was having Neil Armstrong take the first step on the moon in 1969. Sprite, the colorless lemon-lime soda drink, was created by the Coca-Cola Company in 1961. Some medical inventions included the balloon catheters, the first portable EKG, laser scalpels, and the cochlear implant. Some technological inventions was the modular synthesizer, the video game console, the first compact audio cassette, which was invented in 1962. The first visible spectrum LED was invented in 1962 also. The computer mouse was invented in 1963, and the first ATM machine was used in 1969.